You ever had someone try to steal your life right out from under you with a smile and a handshake? Yeah, let me tell you, if you haven't, count your blessings, and if you have, pull up a chair. I promise you haven't heard a mess like mine. $5. That's what I paid for it. $5 for a house so burned out, so godforsaken, it looked like someone lit it on fire just to put it out of its misery, then let a family of raccoons finish the job. No address, no mailbox, no future, or so everyone thought. Joke's on them. First time I rolled up to that shack, if you could even call it that, I had a generator I'd gotten off a guy in a Walmart parking lot, a half-dead tent, and about $5 less in my checking account than the day before. I was grinning like I'd hit the Powerball. Sounds crazy, right? But sometimes life gives you a lemon, and if you're hungry enough, you'll eat the damn peel. This place was the kind of broken that scares off everyone except people like me, people with nothing left to lose. Municipal tax sale unclaimed, forgotten by time, and honestly everyone with a lick of sense. A house with no roof over the kitchen plumbing held together by what I'm pretty sure was hope and mold and the kind of electrical wiring that looked like a drunk squirrel did it for extra peanuts. But there was something about it under all that mess, something nobody else saw. The ground out front was all thistles flipping the finger at civilization. I set up my tent in what used to be the living room, the concrete just barely level enough to keep my back from breaking. That first night, the coyotes argued with the owls, and I ate canned chili straight out of the tin. Cold. It's weird the things you remember: the taste of cheap beans, the sky leaking through the roof, the sound of wind like a freight train just waiting to pull you under. But for the first time in years, I felt at peace. See, I wasn't always this guy, beard, boots, hands so stained with grease and paint that even the soap gave up. I used to be a structural engineer. Built high-rises for people who'd never set foot in them. Had a corner office, 401k, the whole boring package. Then I had a stroke. 200 grand a year, and I ended up slumped over my steering wheel, drooling on my tie. Life comes at you fast. I could have given up. Almost did. But instead I took what little was left and bought a burned-out dream nobody wanted. Next morning I'm chopping up a dead pine out front, trying not to think too much, when this white BMW rolls up across the lake. Gates, manicured lawns, the works, the kind of place where even the ducks look judgmental. Window goes down, and this woman with a blonde bob and sunglasses the size of dinner plates stares right at me. "You bought that?" she yells, voice dripping with sugar and spite. "Please tell me you didn't pay more than $1. Now I have a rule. Only one loud, dangerous thing at a time, so I kill the chainsaw, wipe the sweat off my face. This whole zone floods every spring," she says. "That's why nobody touches this side. It'll be underwater in 5 years. She tells me her name is Karen, of course it is, president of the Silver Rock Shores HOA, which she says like it's supposed to mean something. I look down at myself, boots caked in mud, shirt stuck to my back, and a beard that looks like it owes back taxes. "Yeah, I got the memo," I say. She just smiles, says, "Don't say we didn't warn you," and struts off, waving at my tent like it personally offended her ancestors. I wish I could say that was the end of it, but you know how these things go. That night, photos of me and my primitive lifestyle hit the HOA's little online forum. My tent, my truck, my generator. The captions were "Gold Swamp Man spotted on lakefront. Should we call Parks and Wildlife?" But every minute they spent mocking me, I was working. I dove into county records, old maps, anything I could get my hands on. Found something nobody else bothered to look for: a line on a plat map tucked away and nearly lost to time. Turns out that little shack came with 15 acres of land miscategorized decades ago because of a clerical screw-up. The only reason nobody wanted it: no real road, nothing but an old dirt trail. But I had a hunch. State infrastructure plans, new highway proposals, I'd been keeping tabs even after I quit engineering. And I knew something big was coming. A bridge straight across Lake Thornberry Landing, right on my patch of worthless ground. So no, I didn't just buy a dump. I bought a future, and I paid $5 for it. 9 months. That's how long it took to turn that place from a punchline into something livable. I slept in that tent until the snow got too mean, then moved into the house as soon as I had 4 walls and a working stove, propane rigged from a busted camper I dragged in myself. Roof rebuilt, walls doubled up with insulation, solar panels humming on the roof, and a wellhead pumping clean water through a UV filter I'd rigged with my own hands. Every permit in place, every inspection passed. County inspector even got muffins from me on his 3rd trip, probably thought I was running a meth lab at first. And Karen, she kept coming back. Sometimes she'd just sit there in her car, sunglasses on, like she was waiting for me to catch fire. Once I caught her and her friends laughing at my compost bins. The online posts got nastier. Swamp Man now has solar panels. Is he summoning aliens? Yeah, real comedians, those folks. But here's the twist. The one nobody saw coming. That junkland was about to be the only legal access to the north side of the lake thanks to that new highway. Suddenly my phone starts ringing. Out-of-state realtors offering millions. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. Then Karen shows up again this time. No fake smiles. We've reviewed our expansion charter, she says, arms crossed. Technically, your land is part of our Phase 3. I almost laughed. Funny, I said, when I bought it, your HOA wasn't even a footnote. She tried to play tough, talked about blurred lines, shifting documents, lost boundaries. You know, lawyer stuff, except her only weapon was hope and a bad printer. She left a fancy letterhead envelope, didn't even open it. Instead, I called my old friend Claudia, a lawyer now, and the only person who could out-sarcasm me on a bad day. She shot off a cease and desist, then we posted everything on the county forum, complete with title maps and legal language circled in red. This property is not part of any HOA and is exempt from all HOA obligations unless explicitly accepted in writing. Simple, but apparently not simple enough. Suddenly, the HOA started sending inspectors. A landscaper tried to tell me he was doing routine shoreline maintenance. Another guy with a clipboard wanted me to pre-authorize lake access permissions. I told them all the same thing. See that sign, private property? Try reading next time. Wednesday rolls around and I find a package on my gate, official HOA business. Inside a stack of papers supposedly proving my land had always been earmarked for annexation. Dated 1994. Looked like it had just come off a cheap printer, then stuck in the microwave for aging. Claudia tore it apart in under a day. Signature, a digital copy-paste from a landscaping contract. Official seal printed with a 3D printer you could buy off Amazon. Typeface Windows XP. Not even subtle. And most importantly, never filed with the county. They didn't even bother to do the forgery right. So I drove straight to the county clerk, handed over everything. This'll make next month's board meeting spicy, she said. Filed a complaint, sent everything to the DA's office. Just for good measure, I tracked down the guy whose signature they'd forged to Mr. Sawyer. He'd passed, but his son Doug retired. Firefighter, real salt of the earth, took one look and said, "That's not my dad's handwriting. He couldn't hold a pen straight after 92. He gave me the real signatures for the record." I had it all now. Forgeries, fake seals, backdated documents, even a plan to sell my land to a developer for $1.5 million. But the HOA doubled down, turned it into a public crusade. Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Clips of me working on my doc, photos of my locked gate, captions like, "This is what monopoly looks like." One man hoarding access to our lake, like I'd snuck out in the night and stolen the whole shoreline. Next thing you know, I'm the villain in a homemade documentary. Neighbors with protest signs in my driveway, people shouting, "Give back our lake," college kids with petitions, news vans on the shoulder. Karen's front and center, arms crossed smug, like she's about to announce martial law. It was theater. Problem was, it worked. Developers I'd been talking to backed out, scared off by the noise. I fought back the only way I knew how: facts. Posted my own footage online, survey data, title maps, even footage of HOA members sneaking onto my land to plant fake signs and film themselves being evicted. My side didn't go viral, but the right people saw it. Real estate blogs, land rights forums, and more importantly, a new wave of investors, people who like to fight. And then I filed suit. Defamation, harassment, intentional interference with business, the works. Claudia put together the paperwork with a kind of glee I hadn't seen since law school. I ramped up my security cameras everywhere, signs warning that trespassers would be filmed. I was done playing nice. A couple weeks later, the real fun began. 2 a.m, my phone buzzes, motion detected. 3 figures sneaking over the ridge. Karen in a black hoodie, 2 guys with tools and a map hammering in fake boundary stakes, spray painting trees. My cameras caught every minute. I called the sheriff, sat on my porch with a shotgun across my lap, watching the show. Deputies rolled up, lights on. Karen tried to talk her way out, but she got cuffed, just like the rest. That was the breeze. What came next was the storm. News broke: HOA president arrested for trespassing and fraud. Paper ran the story photo of Karen mid-spray looking like she'd just lost a bet with gravity. The county launched a full investigation. Turned out the HOA had been pulling this annexation trick for years, slipping paperwork to old residents, bullying folks into giving up land. Board members started bailing. Lawsuits piled up, not just mine. Karen got hit with conspiracy, document forgery, criminal trespass, wire fraud. At trial, the jury didn't buy the sob story about community vision. Evidence was overwhelming: fake documents, emails, even chat logs from the board saying, "We take the line, file the claim, let the courts grind him down." In the end, guilty on all counts, 8 years. Banned from holding any position in any HOA for life. Judge said that last part slow, like he wanted it to stick. Civil trial came after. I won $640,000 plus legal fees. The HOA bankrupt. Their website replaced with one line: Silver Rock Shores HOA is currently under administrative restructuring. Translation: game over. You'd think I'd feel smug, but all I felt was relief. Okay, maybe a little smug. I cracked a bottle of good bourbon, stood out on my dock, and watched the lights from the new bridge shimmer on the water. The road ended here now. My road. My terms. 6 months later, I got the call. The developer was back. Offer on the table. $6.3 million. Full rights, permanent revenue share, and I stay on as consultant. I said yes, because sometimes you don't need revenge. Sometimes you just need to win. I rebuilt the house, kept the bones, but made everything else mine. Reclaimed wood steel foundation windows that drank the sunrise. The Swamp Man days were over. Bay 5, that's what I called it. Waitlist stretched 6 months. I hired a forestry kid to manage the land. He talks to squirrels like they're old friends. You know, people from the old HOA still drive by sometimes. A few even try to act like we're buddies. I just smile and keep walking. Karen's still inside, parole denied. Her old house. Somebody turned her office into a meditation room. Fitting, I think. I still fish most mornings, coffee in hand, thinking about how $5 in a thick skin can change a life. The real lesson. People will fight like hell for things they laughed at you for chasing. They'll try to rewrite history if you let them. But paper trails matter. Truth matters. And sometimes karma isn't a slow burn, it's a bonfire. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line? What would you do if someone tried to take what's yours, then told the whole world you were the villain? Would you fight or would you fold? I want to hear your story. Drop your take below. Tell me where you stand, or share the wildest time you stood your ground and watched the world try to shove you out. Because trust me, the only thing crazier than this story is how many of us have lived it.